Hello and welcome back to another one of Spit Yo-Yo Mafia's replay analysis videos. So what we're going to see here is we're playing on this crappy map, and we're going to see how I play out this map. Now it's been a while since I've um, even looked at World of Tanks, so I'm going off the top of my head whenever I see this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is as always is team composition. So on tier 7 and tier 8 game, the tank has okay armor. So the first thing we need to do is look at the enemy team composition. We have a Saint Email. He's probably be back here somewhere if I had to guess. He also got a lot of gun depression. Same for E25. 12244 can be in the city. He can be anywhere basically. He can even be in the field. You don't know where this guy is going to be, right? So this guy is likely going to be in the city. If I was him, I'd likely be working the city too. You could trade with Alpha in that tank. This guy is city. I don't know where he's going to be. He's an opportunistic tank, so this really depends on the player. He's city. I have no idea. Like, these two tanks are really shitty. If I was them, I'd probably like try to camp back here and try to make us push into them if I was their team. Based off their team composition, I don't have the alpha or armor to trade with them. So just looking at this, I might actually go this way. A lot of people would just go city, but I'm like, is that kind of worth it? It might actually be more worth it to go field. If I were to play this flank, I'd play it from back here, and then I'd try to wait for them to push into me, and I'll wait for them to get impatient. I definitely wouldn't be playing up here if it were me. I don't know what I did in this replay, but just looking at this team composition, I know I'm either over here or I'm over here. I'm definitely probably not over here. And then you could look at our team composition too, but like I said, I generally don't look at this. But if you do look at our team composition, we do have a Willy Boy, and we do have this. However, they have this tank. Fortunately for us, this tank isn't that strong in this map, but if it was like, less open, this tank would be pretty strong on their team. So we're lucky we're on this map facing that tank. And then you see we have a lot of TDs too. They have a lot of alpha. So if I had to guess, like I said, I would assume that they'd be a lot more passive and trade with alpha and use their tank's abilities to the best, that they can. While we should most likely be pushing here and being more aggressive. Pushing in the field wouldn't be a bad play. I do have a very accurate gun, and APC does have high shell velocity, so I'd be able to deal with the light tanks and then flank, do stuff like that. So let's see how I played this. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going over here. So like I thought I'd be playing in this area. I definitely would not take the VK in this area. If I'm top tier, maybe I might. But if you're fighting like the Russian heavies, they have more alpha. That'd be a bad trade. So it's a better idea to come here, try to spot people coming along, or maybe even shoot people who come over here and think they're invincible, right? So that's another option that I have. I do expect us to put on a lot of pressure because if, like I said, if you look at our team composition, usually I don't, but you can see we have a lot of tanks with high alpha, and we have some tanks with armor too. So they also have a defender. So, but it is what it is. But what we do have is very high alpha, while they have more TDs that camp than we do, so we'll see. The other thing about the SU-12244 is that while it does have a good gun, it does have armor, whenever it does get penetrated, it hurts because that tank doesn't have a high amount of hit points. So because it's not top tier, we can expect it to be a little bit more passive as well. So that's what we're expecting so far. Alright, so the first thing we notice is that we're going to try to use this rebel, and we're probably going to try to get shots over here. But most likely what I'm going to do here after this guy got spotted here, this is why you need to be careful about using this position, because people can still shoot at you. So don't just take this position and think that you're invincible. That's usually not the case. Even if you have a tank with the strong turret, like if you're trying to fight like right here, they might be able to see a little bit of your hull, and they might be able to shoot it. So if your tank doesn't have very good, hull armor, that might not be so hot for you, right? So now he's taking a couple shots. I'm assuming he's not too stupid. So I'm assuming at this point he's probably gonna fuck off. Be like, this isn't worth it anymore. This is a very bad position to be in, right? So hopefully his allies see that too, and I put on enough pressure so no one will come to this location. But you never know. Someone might be like, oh, he's leaving this location because he took damage. We'll take this location now. So I don't have anything better to do, and I'm not going to push in a tank to sure. So why not just sit here and make sure no one makes that stupid mistake? Because if they do make that stupid mistake, hey, free damage. If they give you free damage, take it, right? Other thing I want to mention is that we don't know what the hell is over here. Like I said, there's a lot of TDs, so they're probably sitting back here. Being aggressive probably isn't that great of a play right now. Also, what's going on in the field? There's like nothing spotted. I'm really surprised there's nothing spotted in the field. So this is kind of weird and awkward. There's a lot of TDs. You can't really be too aggressive because we don't really have armor. The field is pretty open. There's no one there. So in this situation, I either sit here and wait, or I go after the field and see what's there. And it's pretty much only two options I have. Okay, so there I made a mistake. I either should have shot his side when he was coming around, or I should have shot his lower frontal plate. So that's a pretty bad mistake. Do make sure you aim at the right parts of the armor. I think I had some chance to go through it, but it's not guaranteed. Why his lower frontal plate was sitting right there. Not the accuracy to go through his lower frontal plate as well. Another thing I want to mention is, why would I pull all the way up here when I can just shoot through this gap, right? That's another thing. Be mindful of your surroundings. I can expose myself less just by, if I expected him to come around, to just shoot through this gap right here too. Alright, so I'm being aggressive here. I could definitely be punished for this very easily. I have my side exposed over here. You know, they can shoot me, and I just got spotted. However, I do know that he's watching this corner for me, so I know he's not likely to poke around. If anyone tries to come in here, I can shoot them definitely. I do want to see if there's anyone down here that I can shoot, because I can definitely get here and start putting on fire over here too. It's going to be really hard to play this aggressively. It's possible, it's just, I don't think it's the best idea ever. I think I probably should have just hung out over here or something like that. I probably shouldn't have been this aggressive. But this is, I believe, an ace tanker, so it did work out in the end, but this is more aggressive than I would be in this current game right now. And you see, for some reason, he decided to poke out, and we're just going to take advantage of that, right? Okay, so this guy clearly underestimated our reload. This thing is basically a Tiger, and you know how fast the reload on a Tiger is. I believe the Tiger 1 actually gets more DPM than this tank does, because this tank does have some armor. Another thing we want to pay attention to is look at what we spotted. So this guy might start shooting at us, right? So we do need to keep that in mind as we're looking to take him out. And you see, I wasn't paying attention to him until much later. There's pretty bad situational awareness on my part. I should have paid attention. I shouldn't have tunnel vision as much, because this guy is definitely probably looking at me, right? You see, now I'm fucking off as fast as I can, because that's 560 alpha, and I didn't notice he was there, so I'm trying not to get hit by it. I'm really surprised he didn't shoot me there, and he should have punished me for being here and being in the open. I don't know why he didn't. This is what I was talking about. You see the SU-122's HP. When you meet guns that can penetrate you, you don't have a lot of health. So even though you have a lot of DPM, your gun's gonna, your tank is gonna explode quickly. So you kind of want to be more passive if you're playing not as top tier. Alright, so I think I see what he was doing. He was being more aggressive so that way he could help him push. The problem with him doing that is, one, you had a free shot on me that you should have taken, and two, he couldn't really stay there because there's not a lot of cover there, right? However, we don't have a lot of teammates that can really just shoot over there, so you could definitely trade with Alpha or something like that. Even though you don't have armor, you can still trade shot for shot with Alpha. He's probably better off doing that, because in this situation, now I can side scrape off this corner and I can easily deal with him. Because if we count tanks, we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks spotted, right? There's 2 dead, so there's 13 left. We know their TDs are probably back here somewhere, and their light tanks are probably over here. I highly doubt their light tanks are over here, right? They're probably over here somewhere. So we have an idea where those 2 are. So we can say there's 11 tanks, so there's only really 2 tanks. We don't know where they are. One of them's the E25. Once again, E25 is someone back here. We don't know where he is specifically. He could be anywhere, and yeah, we basically, and artillery is obviously at the back. So realistically, we know just about where every single one of the tanks are at this point. So we know that you're pushing forward and that you're probably alone. Even though you have Alpha, I do have some DPM, and I could probably take him out even though I'm a tier lower, right? And I could also side scrape. This tank does have some side armor, so I can make use of that. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get shot in the turret. This is a Tiger 2 stock turret, and this is like, I think, was it 120, 140 millimeters thick, and it's flat. So yeah, if it hits the side, you're good. If it hits this, yeah. Basically, even if a tier 5 hits that, it's gonna go through. Alright, so he fired and he's not looking in this direction, so I'm going to take my free damage, right? Unfortunately for him, my allies are paying attention to the fact that he's there, and now we're dealing with him. We also do have a defender coming up here, so it might be a good idea to load APCR. Okay, there I made a mistake. I pulled out too much. I had HE loaded. I just needed to splash under him or something like that. And the defender definitely has a clear shot on me now. I mean, it's the defender. I was probably going to get shot and pinned anyway. But, don't give him, a good chance. He has a potato gun, so just try to make it hard for him. For some reason, he didn't shoot me there. I don't know if he had already fired, but I don't want to fuck with a defender in this tank. I mean, I can do it 1v1, but I'll do it when he doesn't have the advantage. Our AMX did push up, so we do need to help him as well. If we get the defender to shoot at us while we're side scraping or something like that, our AMX can definitely help take care of him. For some reason, this defender is not being aggressive. I don't know why, dude. You're in the defender. We're not going to have an easy time penetrating you, especially if you're playing correctly, so... I'm not sure why he's choosing to be more passive. We do need to pay attention to the field. We only have a light tank over here, so our other light tank is over here. We want to make sure they're not going to push into us in the field as well, because everyone's kind of like centered around this area, right? Alright, so something we did confirm. We've been spotted here for quite some time, and we haven't got shot from anyone over here. So if I had to guess, our TDs are probably not over here. The fact that the AMX hasn't been shot yet means that their TDs probably aren't over here either. So we can probably push up and start actually helping them, right? So that should be what I'm going to do here. You see the rest of the team is probably going to start pushing up too. So, I mean, look at our health. We have a lot of health too. So we could probably take advantage of the situation. Alright, since the AMX doesn't want to come out, I'm going to try to side scrape, right? Once again, if he sees my turret, he's probably going to auto-pin me, but I'll at least try to get some troll bounces. The Saint email is over here, so we do need to pay attention to that. I do believe we have some other allies who are on this corner, so if he pokes out over here like he's planning on doing, that's actually highly dangerous, and he's probably going to get punished for it. Because, you know, while I might not be looking at him now, I could very easily just turn my tank and look at him, and he has no armor. Same goes to the AMX, and then he's back there too. So, and then we also have a light tank making his way around. So him being there is a very bad thing in my opinion. Like, even though you could say he has a high alpha, like this isn't a shot for shot trade. You have like at least 3 tanks looking at him. I don't know if he knows that he's there, but he knows that we're both here. That tank is not very fast, so it's very easy for us to just turn, look, and penetrate. And you see there, he just shot the AMX. We know you're there now, and well, we could just turn. And I definitely saw that smoke too. I'm really surprised he didn't shoot at me because I'm like full broadside, right? So, yeah, I would not do what he's doing right now. If I were him, I could definitely do it from back here. I could see you doing it from back here. Doing it from right here is a no-no.
The loader is hit. He's moving slowly. That one didn't go through.
Alright, so I'm more focused on the defender and keeping him back. This dude's about to die. I mean, we have a light tank over there. I think he's going for artillery, though, unfortunately. But I definitely could have just turned after the defender shot me and just fired at him. I really want to kill this defender. I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Saint Email, you have a big gun. That's about it. This guy actually has a gun and armor. I think I'd rather kill him first, and he also has another heavy helping him. And also by us putting pressure on him, they're able to put pressure over here as well. So even if I were to die for this, putting on a lot of pressure on this defender is helping our team push forward. And we can see the light tank over here starting to make a play, because our other light tank is over here, and he probably hadn't seen anything, so he's probably pushing forward. He should be able to help clip him out. I don't know why the super Pershing is in the field, but it's kind of useless over there. You don't really have camo. And then if people can get your sides, like, that's what you don't want, and that's why you want to fight in the city in the super Pershing. So I'm still not paying attention to this dude. I definitely could have shot him. Like, I don't know why I didn't shoot at him. I should have shot him. Like, he was so exposed, like, why not shoot at him, right? And there you see, he was getting shot in the ass, so we dealt with him. He realized he got shot in the ass, so he's being very aggressive now, but you can see how many tanks we have over here. And he's coming out broadside, so that's not a good idea. Did they buff this tank's armor? This thing has bounced a lot of shots. I'm actually really surprised it's bounced as much as it has, even though one shot went to the tracks. That's actually pretty surprising. Yeah, this defender is about to be mincemeat. So even though we're 2 tier 7s, you know, just because you're a defender doesn't mean you're invulnerable, especially if you get your lower plate. But this tank, the defender is so ridiculous. I hate fighting that tank. Even in a tier 8, I hate fighting that tank. It's just not fun to fight. Alright, now we're doing tracking damage. We're going to keep him track. We're going to get assist damage for that as well. And we want to make sure this guy stops moving, so that way people can hit his weak spots as well. So that's why we're tracking him here. Alright, so now this game's going to turn into a game of aggression. Now it's just steamroll. We've dealt with all their tanks in the city. It doesn't matter if they take this, because we have tanks back here who can still come help. Our medium tanks are coming in. We're swarming them at this point. All of these tanks in the city are about to die, and then the rest of them are going to die from there. So there's not too much left in this game to do. Right now it's just a steamroll, so rip the enemy team, right? So we'll just watch it through to the end. There's not really too many decisions to make at this point. It's how can I get the most damage possible. So obviously if we look at this guy is going to be first, right? He's right here next to us. He's pretty easy target. This guy can, if I see him first, I'll go after him too. So it's either one of these. Brass should be running away somewhere. Then we just have to deal with what's in the field. I expect some teammates to come back here, deal with these light tanks that are pushing in. They're probably gonna die, and then we kill a super Pershing. so on and so forth. I'm not sure what this E25 was. It would have really helped to see if this E25 was up here. Who knows where he is? Alright, and here we're just side scraping, we're minimizing our damage. We don't need to take damage against this guy. For some reason, he thinks he can penetrate my side. This isn't a Tiger, and even then, I don't think he'd be able to penetrate even a Tiger with that gun. This tank is slightly more armored than a Tiger for a loss of DPM, so... I probably should have shot that Barras because he was passing by. That would have been a good idea, but he's running into this. I don't know. If I was that Barras, I would have shot me. Because, you know, I'm poorly angled towards him at that point, and this tank doesn't have, you know, that type of armor to take that. So, once again, I'm really surprised that I didn't get shot here. I should have been shot, but it is what it is, right?
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
This is what I was talking about. This is why I don't take the Super Pershing to the field. Even if he was trying to face towards that enemy, guess what? Then we'd have his sides. The Super Pershing has absolutely no armor whatsoever. So by doing this, he's basically killing himself. Don't go to the field in the Super Pershing. I'm not saying you can't take your medium to the field. You definitely can if you know what you're doing. Take your tank destroyers to the field too. You just need to make sure you know not splitting off the team too much and you actually know what you're doing when you go there. Their team could have done so much better had this guy been in the city helping them. Like, he literally, even if he was camping over here, when we pushed in, that's so many side shots into us. That's so much pressure. Like, he could have done basically anything but what he did. Because by doing this, basically, he's being farmed at the end of the game. It's not his teammates' fault. It's your fault that you're over here and you didn't help your team out by being over there. So, and then when the light tanks took the field, he's still sitting here. Why didn't you push up here and actually, you know, start helping? Like, he could have done basically anything but what he did. So don't do what the Super Pershing did. It's a very bad idea. And that's why you want to track tanks. Your spotting and tracking is separated for your marks of excellence, but you do want to track tanks because that gives you a lot more assist damage. That gives you a lot more experience, and that experience you get from your assist damage will help you get ace tankers and so on and so forth. So if you're looking for a lot of ace tankers, that's a good way to do it. Alright, so the thing I noticed is that they can't see them. They don't really need to because I have a lot of view range. I'm probably going to get spotted for doing this, but I can definitely spot them because I have the view range too. I have some armor. It's not great, but it's not zero. I think it's I think I have 140 on the upper plate or something like that, and that's when it's not sloped, or maybe it's like 100 to 120, and then it's sloped or something like that. Effectively, it's like I think 160 if I'm right. I don't know if it's like it's somewhere between like 140 and 160, I think. And then you can angle it up to like 200. It's not that great. I mean, against tier 8s, it's pretty much garbage, but against same tier, it's pretty useful. So especially since we're talking about E25 and a light tank, right? Now the Type 62 can go through our plate like I'd probably say 60%, maybe even 70% of the time with gold, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so this told us a lot of information. One, the Type 62 is directly this way, so we know where he is. He's next to artillery, and I'm kind of, this dude can shoot heat at me, so I don't really care about him. But the E25 probably has over 3k DPM, and he probably can't penetrate me frontally. So the thing I want to do is I want to angle against his E25 so he doesn't kill me. This Type 62, he'll probably have to deal with him or something like that. Hopefully I do tell them where the Type 62 is, because that's important, so that way someone can come. He could definitely break off and come kill this Type 62 on his own.
We've lost a track. One of our tracks is damaged.
Alright, so the E25 probably realized he can't really penetrate me. And I'm pinging him where the Type 62 is, telling him, hey, there's an enemy over here. Can you go deal with him for me? There you go. Now we spotted the Type 62. We can deal with him. Once he's dealt with, then we can push forward and be more aggressive.
Enemy is hit.
Alright, our light tank is going to go spot. So all we have to do is sit here and wait until he's spotted, and then we'll shoot at him.
Enemy armor is hit.
Well, rip that E25, right? Feels bad, man. He could have been so much better. Like I said, like the Super Pershing should have been in the city. The E25 should have been probably somewhere up here. Had they done that, this game would have been a lot closer. But because they went to the field, they didn't push the field, even though they had the advantage over here. They didn't get in any flanking shots. They reacted too slowly. That's clearly why they lost, in my opinion. I mean, the E25 could have went field anyway, but that Super Pershing should have been over here. So that being said, we did do over 5k combined. It's 5.7k, so that's pretty good. Almost 5.8k and 3.7k damage. I didn't even realize how much damage I did until like the end of the game, because I was so focused on doing what I needed to do in order to eliminate the tanks in front of me that, you know, it's just one of those games where you just look at the damage you did and you're like, holy shit. I actually did something this game. Because, I mean, if we put this into perspective, that's over, like, what's the average tier 8 heavy tank have? Like 1500 health? Well, that's equivalent to me killing 2 tier 8 heavy tanks and a tier 7 heavy tank. That's a lot of damage, right? That's a lot of damage. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to my channel. I do stream every day, but I'm not streaming Water Tanks at the moment. I might stream it in the future. It's just I'm taking a short break. I kind of want to play other things because you know how bad the RNG in Water Tanks is. And unfortunately, on the North American server, it's like 3 RTs per game. You're lucky if you don't see like if you see less than 2 artilleries. I say consider yourself lucky. And that's just how it is on the North American server. So it might not be so bad on Europe because when I played over there, you know, there wasn't that many artillery. So unfortunately, they have a campy meta. It's not as aggressive as this one is, but I'd much rather deal with, in my opinion, I'd much rather deal with artillery than people camping. Now, I'm not saying camping is a wrong thing to do. It's 100% the right thing to do because, you know, I'll go ahead and talk about the game mechanics a little more for people who might not know about it. So this game punishes aggression heavily. There's a lot of reasons why this game does punish aggression. For example, let's say you want to be aggressive in the field, right? Alright, look at all these bushes right here. Someone could basically perma-stealth you and kill you before you can even get close to them. So if you're over here and someone's over here, you're dead. It's bush mechanics, man. So you will literally be punished by campers and bushwankers. So welcome to World of Tanks 2020, where aggression is heavily punished. It didn't used to be this way. There used to not be this many bushes, so when you wanted to shoot someone like over here, you'd actually have to risk yourself to do so. So they would see you shooting them and they could shoot back. But in Water Tanks 2020, there are so many bushes that you can't even blind fire them anymore just because of how many there are. So you wouldn't even be able to guess because they could just move and then your guess would be wrong. And then what if you're in a tank like the E4 that's a 15-second reload? Are you just gonna blind fire? Probably not, right? So, but if you're in something like an Object 140, sure, go ahead, blind fire. You got like what, 5-second reload? Why not? It's probably less than that. I don't know, but yeah, that's the type of situations I'm talking about. But you really do need to be mindful. That's not. It's like a 6 second reload on the Object 140. I don't know. I'd have to look. Mine has like 3.6 to 3.7k DPM. I think. I'd have to look again and see. But yeah, that really does give you an idea of why you get punished for it. So one is to push mechanics, two is spotting mechanics. If you're moving and you're not in a light tank, you lose camo for moving, so you get punished for that too. And then if you're just sitting and waiting, what I noticed was they were using binocs instead of optics, and I could tell because of when my sixth sense was going off. I could see them, and it didn't go off until they were sitting still. So their meta is completely different from the North American meta, where people use optics and are aggressive. In public matches, a lot of people actually just camp, wait for you to push into them, and they use binocs to punish you for doing so. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of that gameplay because it's boring. That's like gameplay of I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. But is that fun? I don't see how sitting in one spot for 3 to 4 minutes, waiting for them to push into you finally, is fun, if that makes sense. It's competitive, but it's not fun. I like doing both. I like being competitive and having fun at the same time. And that's why I like the aggression on the North American server. 'Cause you can see in a lot of my games, like, the aggression is just completely, it's something out of this world, right? But, I'm not saying every game on EU is campy, because not every game on, the European server is campy. But what I did notice was when I played a few games over there, it's a lot campier, and people are more willing to camp for the win than they are to try something different and be aggressive and have fun. So I'm not sure how some players are playing this game and having fun when they're camping at the back of the map. I've never understood that concept. What is fun about camping at the back of the map and waiting for people to come to you? I say the same thing about the what are they? The Swedish CDs, the STRVs. I'm just like, dude, what is fun about sitting at the back of the map and waiting for people to push into you? Wouldn't it be more fun to play like an assault TD, like the Object 263, for example, where you have armor, you can actually use it, you have mobility, you can relocate and actually do stuff? Like, and then it has a lot of weaknesses, like now it doesn't turn as fast as it used to. DPM has been lowered, the accuracy isn't that good. Like, it's not an overpowered tank. It takes some thought process to actually use right. Unlike the 268, which is still completely overperforming and a broken piece of shit, but people said it's balanced now. No, no, it's not. Guarantee you, people platoon in that thing, your team's probably gonna lose because they're still fucking Bob Jacks. So enjoy, but. But anyways, that's beside the point. So this video is a little bit longer because I decided to talk about these things really quick. So I will say is if you're looking for marks, yes, aggression does matter, but being passive will probably give you a lot more damage and assistance in the long run than being as aggressive as I am, for example. So while I do maintain a high win rate for being aggressive, it's not very good for marking tanks. Because I do have a lot of good games, but there's like the one or two games like out of like I say out of 15, not out of 100, but I say like out of 15 where I could have done better had I just been more passive. There's a lot of times where I'm willing to be passive. It depends on what I expect to happen, right? But there are some games where the best thing to do is absolutely nothing, and that bores the ever living hell out of me to do absolutely nothing. But if you're trying to get really good at this game and you do want better stats, you're gonna have to understand situations where you want to actually do nothing, you just want to wait on the enemy. So you saw that in one of my videos where I played the tier 6 Chinese tank destroyer, so the WZ-131. When you saw me play that, there was a couple times where I needed to do absolutely nothing and just wait for them to come to me. That's the type of gameplay I'm talking about. Now, sometimes, I will be willing to do that, but let's say instead of the end of the game, you do that at the start of the game. Would you be willing to sit there and do nothing at the start of the game to actually win the game, or would you rather go do something more fun? So that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. So It really depends on the situation. This game being aggressive did play off. The reason why I played off is because I noticed that none of our allies were being shot here. I was spotted here. I wasn't being shot, so I had a good guess that there was no one on this hill. I don't know why this Stewart wasn't over here. He should have been on this hill playing Seal. He could have done so much better had he been over here just waiting. Same for the E25. Had he been over here, he would have done so much damage to us. He literally, after we pushed up, you could have pushed over in this area. There's some bushes over here. He could have just rained hell on us, and that would have been so bad for us. But I noticed that he wasn't over here, so we just took advantage of that situation. It's a pretty good game in my opinion. I was pretty aggressive. There were a couple of shots I could have taken better. I think I could have done possibly like 4K damage had I actually aimed a little better. Most of my shots went in where they were supposed to, so that wasn't too bad. I think, in my opinion, at the start, I was a little bit too aggressive because I didn't know what that E25 or Stewart email was. And even you even saw that SU, he had shots at me. For some reason, he didn't want to shoot me. I don't know why he didn't want to shoot me, but I'm like, dude, you have 560 alpha. Just put it into me. Even if I shoot you for like, I'm shooting you for like 240. Like, I don't even have half your alpha. It's a bad trade for me, and I think he should have just taken it. But for some reason, he didn't. So I think I should have been punished a lot more this game, and I'm really surprised that I didn't get punished more. So I made some bad plays this game, even though this is an ace tanker. So I do want to point that stuff out when I'm not making the correct play as well. But anyways, like I said earlier, I do thank you for watching my video. Sorry for rambling on for so long, but I'm expecting lesser experienced players to be watching these videos, so that's why I want to make sure I explain things as I'm going. I tend to not explain the same thing, twice. I hope I don't anyway, because I know that would bore me, so I don't want to bore you. So if you did enjoy my video, then as I said earlier, please do subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. I don't think I'll be streaming Water Tanks for like next week, because I do plan on playing something else. So if I do stream Water Tanks, it'll probably be like 2 weeks. Being honest, a week and a half to 2 weeks. So if you do want to watch me play Water Tanks, catch me like 2 weeks from now. What is that like? After the first week of July. There we go. That's a good timeline. So that's when you'll catch me streaming. So think like what, July 8th and forward maybe. But right now I'm kind of taking a break. So yep, thank you for watching.